Can you hear me all right, Coach?
I do.
Great.
1, 2, 3, 4. You
There we
got
go.
me?
Perfect.
Good. Yeah.
I'm excited to get.
I love helping people. I love the sport. I like mentoring the little kids. I go back to my high school and help out. Having the drive to get to the next level. Hold yourself accountable to be a better runner, to be a better teammate, to be a better student. My name is Alec Dominguez. Thanks to FIU and Conference USA, I am and will always be all day CUSA.
In the classroom, we are committed. In the community, we are uplifting. In athletics, we are strong. And on our campuses, we are accepting. Dynamic, diverse, determined, this is who we want to be, on and off the field. In our everyday lives, we are all day CUSA. And together, we are Conference USA.
The day is Monday, August 27th, which means at last it's game week at FIU. Activity in full swing in the Graham Center, where we are set for Panther Talk Coaches Show with Butch Davis. Get the tents ready, the coolers ready. It's game week in time for tailgating this weekend at Ricardo Silva Stadium. AJ Ricketts, play-by-play voice of the Panthers, along with Butch Davis, set to begin his second season at the helm of FIU. And Coach, fall camp ball concluded. Time to get ready for Indiana this week. It's game week, but when camp ended last week, you felt the team really transitioned to that game week type of preparation really well, and they're ready to go.
Yeah, obviously, AJ, there's a lot of things that go into the preparation of this season. It's the off season back in January, February. It's spring practice. It's all the hard work and effort that the kids put in over the summertime. Then you start training camp, and now you get a chance to start focusing on the football aspect of it. We actually have had what I think is one of the best training camps that I've been involved in collegiately. kids worked extraordinarily hard. We were able to come through it for the most part injury-free, and one of the things that kind of tells you what your kids did during the off-season, imagine this, AJ, we actually had probably a half a dozen practices with the heat and the humidity index was in excess of 125. We didn't have one single player miss any repetitions during practice because of cramps or exhaustion or fatigue. That tells you a lot about the preparation that they put into it.
And it's not like it's going to get any cooler because fall in Miami means it's summer still in Miami. That just continues. Coach, I know you were asked about it this morning. I think you've literally been asked in every single interview you've done throughout fall camp. And I don't want to put you on the spot and ask you that now. It's a depth chart, but I do want to give you an opportunity to talk about all those position battles that have taken place throughout the course of fall camp and what you've seen out of those guys battling for positions this year.
Well, there's several areas where we had a lot of positions. We lost all 4 starters in the secondary from a year ago, so the entire secondary has kind of been a big major battle. Who's going to end up being the 2 starting corners? Who's the second and third backups there that'll play in our nickel and dime packages? The safeties to come in. There's a lot of competition there. Dorian Hall obviously is a freshman that didn't play very much last year that's really put himself in the safety position. Stanley Thomas is a guy who played wide receiver for us last year, and I regret this, that we flipped him over to corner with about 1 week left to go in the season, and I'm going to tell you what, he has played spectacular all through spring, through the summertime. He's created a lot of competition at the corner with Ike Brown, so that was a big part of the training camp, was how's the secondary going to settle out. Another obviously big part of it is that you lose Julian Williams, you lose Thomas Owens, the 2 starting wide receivers graduated and they're gone. So now it's a lot of young kids. Last year, Bryce Singleton stepped up, Shamar Thornton stepped up, but I'll tell you some other guys that have had a great training camp. Austin Maloney's done an outstanding job. He's really worked, extraordinarily well. One of the kids that was a redshirt, he was ineligible last year because he was a transfer from the University of Florida, is wide receiver C.J. Wharton. Yeah. So there's a lot of guys competing there. In the offensive line, we have all 5 starters coming back, but some of the guys behind them are really pushing. We've got a big competition at the center position with Dallas Cannell and last year's starter Neil Mars. They're really pushing it in the perfect world for a head coach, and obviously you'd really love to have 7, 8, maybe even 9 players in the offensive line that at any time you could trust them to go into the game. And then obviously the featured position is the quarterback position, and obviously there's all kinds of speculation who's going to. The one thing I can tell almost every single fan, you come to the stadium on Saturday night and watch the Indiana game, you're going to see both of these quarterbacks. The competition has been extraordinarily competitive, which I think brings the best out of both people. Christian Alexander, who's been on the team a year for the last 2 seasons, and now obviously James Morgan has transferred in from Bowling Green. If you watch those 2 guys, I love the way that they help each other. When the other guy was taking reps, and they would talk after each possession. What did you see? Well. How did you go? And, Christian, knowing the offense, really helped James, and James has really helped Christian because he has started games at Bowling Green. So, those 2 guys, I really feel like that they're really pushing themselves to be the best that they can be.
There's a little bit of quarterback news for you that we got a little bit in this one. Now, you mentioned Stanley Thomas Oliver, and when we talk about position changes, Maurice, a guy that stands out in that regard, in that storyline, and you saw the story. He came to you, hey, coach, can I move out to receiver to better help the team? And you said, I should have thought of this already. So with Stanley, did he come to you and say, I'd love to switch to cornerback, or when did it the click that you maybe want to move him defensively?
Yeah, obviously it was probably the last week of the season, and obviously, we started to get depleted in the secondary, and we thought, maybe in the bowl game we may actually end up needing somebody to be there because we didn't know the health of some of the guys during the end of the season. But Stanley he embraced it. I mean, as soon as we put him over there, it was like, you got to be kidding. We should have done this months ago.
It's great length.
Because he looked natural. I mean, he's got athletic ability, he's got length, he's got speed, he's got feet, and he has embraced that position change. And you referenced Maurice Alexander, who was the backup quarterback last year. One of the things that you got to love about guys like Maurice is that ego was never involved. I mean, a lot of times when you're the quarterback, I want to be the feature guy. I want to be the star of the team. I want to be the major leader. Yeah. He came to us and he said, Coach, look, after spring practice, he said, I really want to play on the next level. I really feel like that I'd love to have an opportunity to play at a position that would give me a chance to maybe play in the NFL. And so he said, I would really like to maybe take a chance in looking at wide receiver. So you love that. And he kind of beat me to the question because it was obviously one of those things that we were probably going to present to him. But you love the attitude about it because it's like, Coach, I want to help the team. Where's the best position that you could put me? I think if we'd have said, you know what, we need you to go play corner, I think he'd have flipped over and gone and played corner. But he is a terrific young man. He's smart. He's got great football intelligence. Playing quarterback, I mean, he already understands the coverages that people, the leverages, where they are, the disguises, because he's had to read it as a quarterback. So now playing wide receiver, it's like, he's at a natural position.
And I didn't realize when he made the switch, I assumed he played a little bit of it in high school receiver. Not at all.
Not at all.
He's making that switch from the beginning, but he's looked great in practice. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, you may or may not know this, President Rosenberg recently starred in a music video. We'll take a look at that and chat much more. Panther Talk, Butch Davis, come back right after this.
Sport. I like mentoring the little kids. I go back to my high school and help out. Having the drive to get to the next level. Hold yourself accountable to be a better runner, to be a better teammate, to be a better student. My name is Alec Dominguez. Thanks to FIU and Conference USA, I am and will always be all day CUSA.
The start of a new semester, Panthers. Welcome back. And we're on our way to practice. You want to hitch a ride with us? We got that big game on Saturday, September 1st, and we want you all there. Come on, let's go. Sup, we got any music in this bus?
Do you remember the 21st night of September?
They were swag surfing. They were singing "Do You Remember?" The fight. Have you seen this video by chance?
I have. I've actually seen it one time. One of the players in the facility showed it to me. So hilarious. Yeah, very good.
That you had Ike Brown coming up to take the ox. The collaboration, the partnership, and President Rosenberg has been all on board.
Yeah.
With what we're trying to do with the football
program. You couldn't ask
program.
for an administrator to be much better than President Rosenberg. What a lot of people don't realize is what an enormous role that he actually has played in helping us recruit. Every single Sunday, the recruits that we've had on campus on their official visits, he's been welcoming into his home. He's brought them, their parents, aunts and uncles, and moms and dads and stuff, and just really embraced helping in recruiting. So very grateful for all of his help.
I want to thank all of you for listening, tuning in on Facebook today. There's a lot of folks in the Graham Center as well taking some of their afternoon to watch the Butch Davis Coaches Show, Panther Talk Live with Butch Davis. Coach, you spoke to the band at orientation.
Yep.
There's going to be a pep rally this week sponsored by the FIU Sunblazers. It's a new student group on campus, so you love those developments. You're going to speak at a pep rally, so the excitement level is certainly there, and your level of engagement with the students. Through the years, how have you loved to interact and really be a part of what the student body brings to a team? AJ,
obviously, you love for the students to get involved, and as I told the band, and I'm going to tell the students, one of the things when you come to FIU, and I told it at the freshman orientation, I said, you kind of come for 3, 4, 5 reasons. You come to get a great education, develop a relationship with faculty and people on campus that can help you after graduation, network into careers and jobs. You also come to make friends, to build people that will be part of your life. And then one of the other things, and this is where I think that athletics and certainly the football aspect of it is, if you come and you participate as a fan and you're in the crowd, you become part of the environment and you create memories, AJ, that last a lifetime. Can you imagine being at the game and it's a goal line stand and the crowd is behind it, like last year when we had 4 plays, at the goal line to keep Charlotte out of the end zone, 4 plays, and just saying, 10 years from now, I remember I was there when that happened, or I remember when Alex Magoo, they scored 62 points against UMass and broke all the records and stuff. I was there, I was a part of it, and so you want the students to embrace the idea of coming and being a part of game day, being a part of the environment within the stadium, and obviously they truly, really can, along with the band and the dazzlers and the cheerleaders, they become become a huge home field advantage.
Yeah.
And so we're really trying to encourage everybody to get involved and be a part of the students.
I was looking up old FIU games on YouTube the other day, and I saw the homecoming game, 2011 against Duke. And Ricardo Silva was packed. In an unbelievable environment. I said it could certainly be like that moving forward. And you start the season against a Power 5 opponent in Indiana. That's coming up this Saturday. We'll talk more about that throughout the course of the Coaches Show. Coach, one of the guys in that the karaoke, the music video with President Rosenberg, Ike Brown, last season missed 5 games. Okay, C.J. Warden, you referenced him earlier. He had to sit out the entire season. When guys are in that situation, and to an extent, you certainly understand this because after your freshman year, you had that knee injury, and so you had to become a student assistant the rest of the way, so you could understand the frustration of missing time on the field. How do you keep guys like that engaged and focused on what the next step is moving forward, and knowing that they still have a big role with the team, even though right now they may not?
Absolutely, AJ. It's a great question. Obviously, C.J. Wharton last year, who set out on offense, he was one of the best special teams players that we had because he knew every single day everything that he was doing was going to pay dividends when that eligibility came back, and certainly for this year. Another guy that people don't talk that much about is Jordan Woods. Jordan Woods was a transfer from Georgia Tech. He was full scholarship. He transferred last year. He's an interior defensive lineman, and he did the exact same thing. He was ineligible, but the scout team repetitions and the way that he helped our offense get prepared every single week, and now all of a sudden, now he's got 2 more years of eligibility left. And so, you just look at all the kids, whether they're on the scout team, it could be an incoming freshman, it might be a walk-on, it could be a guy that's a transfer. They can't waste those opportunities. It's an opportunity for you to continue to develop your career, develop your fundamentals and techniques, and you're helping your teammates. You're helping them get ready on Saturday. So we kind of embrace all of those players.
And to that point, your thoughts, there's a new rule this year in college football. You can play up to 4 games now with still maintaining that red shirt. How much of an impact do you think that has on the psychology of the guys?
You know what? I think it's going to have a big impact because obviously – one of the things that you have to look at is it helps you avoid some of those depth issues that you have, whether it's on special teams, whether it's at a particular position that, in a couple of, where maybe you've lost some guys for season-ending injuries and you're like, oh my gosh, how are we going to finish out the season? Now you've got those guys available, and their preparation every single week, it could be that you don't play this week, but lo and behold, you might be the second team player, you might be a starter in 2 weeks, so you have to be ready. I think their intensity has been outstanding because of that rule.
Yeah. Fans, don't forget to stop by Texas Roadhouse, where FIU staff and students receive 10% off every day. Come watch all your favorite games and join us for an unbelievable deal of $5.99 burgers every month. Texas Roadhouse, 10% discount for FIU students and staff. Coach, another viral video around the FIU parts recently, and I realized you love rewarding kids and giving them an opportunity, whether it was Brad Muhammad, Bryce Kennedy earlier this spring. I think it was C.J. Warden in spring or summer. And recently Josh Powell gave him a scholarship after practice. What has impressed you about Josh in particular? And here's the thing, when Coach awards scholarships to guys, I mean, they're not just walk-ons who get a scholarship and then sit the bench. I mean, they have contributed since you started here.
They've earned it. Yeah. And, AJ, obviously, every place that I've ever coached, there's a lot of programs that they absolutely do not embrace. They actually, in some programs, they don't even want to bother with walk-on players. It's like, oh, we've got all these scholarship guys, we've got all we need. I look at it completely different. I think the 12 years I spent in the NFL, I look at walk-ons as somewhat like free agents. Yeah. And the number of free agents that become great contributors in the NFL, guys that go on to, some of them make the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We've been blessed at the Dallas Cowboys. We had a young man by the name of Bill Bates that was a walk-on at Tennessee. He was a free agent, undrafted free agent for the Dallas Cowboys. Lo and behold, he has a 15, 16-year career, wins 3 Super Bowls, and goes to Pro Bowl. So, I mean, there's walk-ons, and you talked about them last year. I mean, Brad Muhammad, leading interceptor for us last year, he earned that scholarship. He came in and all during training camp and during practices, he proved that he deserved to be a starter on that team. Bryce Kennedy had been on the team for 3 years and had never played in a game, made no contributions whatsoever. And all of a sudden,
changed last year.
Oh my gosh! And he comes on and he becomes the best safety that we had last year and played on special teams. And now, look at what he's doing now. Now he's playing with the Jacksonville Jaguars after 1 year. And so obviously Josh Powell this year is the second walk-on that we've awarded scholarships to, and he earned it from last year. I mean, he came as a running back out of high school, and when we said, you know what, Josh, we really would like to see you flip positions and maybe play on defense, maybe play at the safety position and earn a role. I mean, he started on almost every single special team that we had last year. This year, he's gotten bigger, faster, stronger, and he absolutely earned it. I mean, and I'm thrilled to death for he and his family.
You mentioned Bryce getting that opportunity with the Jaguars. Coach, once fall camp begins, really all throughout the entire season, your focus is forward and moving on to what the next game, the next play is, and your attention is towards that. So it's understandable if you're not seeing the clips of Alex Magoo scrambling around the backfield and throwing up Hail Marys at the end of the game that are being caught at the 1 yard. We're all used to that. It's just Alex being Alex. But whether it's Magoo with the Seahawks fighting for that backup spot, or Anthony Wynn has impressed in Jets camp, Farrell with the Steelers, obviously now Julian Williams with the Titans getting an opportunity. That, like I said, the business is so forward-focused, but how much of an opportunity have you had to kind of keep track of these guys and reflect on how special last season was with those seniors?
A little bit of it, obviously. It's, with Alex, I mean, it came to fruition. I told all 32 teams last year, I said, you're going to make a mistake if you don't draft Alex Magoo. I said, I'm going to tell you, he's going to have a 10, 12-year career if he stays healthy. He's dynamic. He can make plays. And then the statements that Pete Carroll made after their OTAs and their mini camps back in the spring after they drafted him, he literally alluded to the fact that he was maybe the best draft choice that they had, better than their first, better than their second, better than their third. And he will. I mean, he will absolutely compete to be the backup to Russell Wilson. If Russell's not careful, he's going to try to beat him out and take his job because he is truly talented. This past Saturday, we had our big scrimmage on Saturday morning, so I had a couple hours in the afternoon. I turned on the TV in the office, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are playing the Tennessee Titans, and I thought, okay, I'll get a chance to watch a little bit of Janu Smith play for Tennessee, and then all of a sudden, there's Pharaoh McKeever, the tight end, and he played the second, third, and the fourth quarter, and he's got a really good chance to potentially make it and, make the Steeler roster. So I'm thrilled to death for all of those kids.
That was great to see Pharaoh and Janu after the game meet up at midfield to take a picture. They certainly remember their times at FIU and what they were able to contribute to the program. Coach, at that level right now, I mean, the NFL, they're in a tough spot having to figure out the best procedure to follow to find that middle ground between player safety but also not significantly altering the game. Seems like the issue at that moment, more of an issue at the pro level, but you've referenced it before. There's so much being done to protect where the players are at right now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things, and obviously probably the biggest hot button, obviously, with the NFL, college, and all the way down to youth league football is the concussion issue. How do you play a great sport and a sport that is unbelievably productive for people outside of just athletics, the lessons that they learn, and it's all about teaching. It's about fundamentals. How do you make sure that guys learn the proper techniques? How do you tackle and take the head out of it? How do you make sure that the aiming point is away from and you're tackling with your shoulders, you're tackling around the waist? Because you want guys to stay healthy. I mean, nobody wants any player to ever participate in any sport, and football catches an awful lot of negativism and criticism in reality that there's several other sports that have more concussions than does football, simply because they play without headgear, without the protection part of it. And so, I think it's a big part of all coaches. You want all of your players to remain and stay healthy, whether it has to do with how they train in the off season. Unfortunately, you see the disaster of the things that have transpired at Maryland, where a young man unfortunately passed away. And that's why we were so proud of Chad Smith and our strength and conditioning program. They really put a lot of thought and effort into how do we prepare our players to be able to make sure that they can practice and play in heat and the humidity that you see in South Florida. And thus far, knock on wood, everything's gone great, and I think our team's ready to go.
Yeah, such a balance between precautionary measures but also developing that toughness of the heat, and it seems that Chad and the guys have certainly found the best way to do that.
I'm going to say one other person that deserves a lot of credit, AJ, and I'm going to tell you, I am blessed. Kevin O'Neill, our trainer, there may not be, in my personal opinion, a better trainer in all of football, whether it's the NFL or a college. I mean, he's been the NFL two-time trainer of the year. I've been around him at the University of Miami. He was with us in Dallas. Obviously, he was the trainer for the Dolphins when Jimmy Johnson was head coach. I'm going to tell you what, you want to talk about how to take care of players with injuries and his success ratio of guys that do get nicked or guys that get hurt, that they come back completely healthy and ready to go. We're blessed to have Kevin O'Neill on our staff.
And you've got to feel that the average practice protocol today, even at the younger level, say the high school level, is much more advanced, developed, and the knowledge is there than maybe when you were putting on the pads at Bixby High School.
No doubt.
You think the knowledge and then the high school protocol is taking leaps forward.
Yeah, sadly enough, and this is almost in reference to my age and stuff, but we didn't have water breaks and we didn't have Gatorade.
You never seen his weakness, right?
Yeah, you kind of sucked on ice towels and stuff like that. So trust me, it has dramatically changed. A big addition, and I'm going to compliment her. We've added a full-time nutritionist, and Amanda Fernandez.
She's great.
She has done a phenomenal job of making sure not only the hydration aspect of it, but the protein, the way in which, whether it's protein shakes, whether it's guys that are trying to lose weight, gain weight, in between meals, the things that she's been able to do. I mean, it has been an absolutely fantastic addition to our staff.
All right, getting set to wrap things up soon. We'll take one more break, one more segment here on the Panther Talk Coaches Show live with Butch Davis at the Graham Center on the campus of FIU. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
In the classroom, we are committed. In the community, we are uplifting. In athletics, we are strong. And on our campuses, we are accepting. Dynamic, diverse, determined. This is who we want to be, on and off the field. In our everyday lives, we are all day CUSA. And together, we are Conference USA.
Fans now at CC's try new endless pan pizzas, fully loaded supreme and mediator toppings on a new crispy golden pan crust. And don't forget to head to the pasta bar for our new hearty baked pasta, meaty, cheesy, and baked to perfection. Visit our 2 Columbia locations today and try the newest and pan pizza. Load up on crust and toppings, not on price, just $6.99. Our endless CC's buffet. I've taken that down a time or two before. Gotta love CC's. We also have a donut stand right next to us. You might see it on the right side of the hallway. Might contribute the last $2 of my wallet to that.
Yeah. That's almost like a magnet. You see donuts, it's like, ooh.
I'm going to take a detour here to the donut stand. How often do you get to this? Do you ever take your lunch break, get the Latin cuisine here over the GC? Or?
Absolutely. I come to the Graham Center a lot of times. We have a team meal on Wednesday night that I'm usually at, and I usually come over here maybe once a week at least to have lunch. And it's electric. I mean, this is the hub of FIU campus. I mean, you want to find people, come to the Graham Center. They're all here.
It is always bustling, all hours of the day. Coach Jeremy Ballard, the new basketball coach here at FIU, he's been out at practice a couple times throughout fall camp. Softball coach, head coach Gator Red Pond too recently. We talked with Jeremy on the Hoops podcast last week. He noted how you spent a solid chunk of time with him when he came in town on his interview. And really, there was only 10 minutes set aside, but you spent almost up to an hour with him talking FIU, and that really stood out and meant a lot to him. How important is that athletic department cohesion and the coaches being on the same page? And what did that meant a lot to him, but what did you see out of Jeremy, and why did you want to do that?
You know what, AJ? I mean, obviously they asked me if I would just spend a little bit of time, if there was any kind of a gut feeling about him, and almost within the first 10 or 15 minutes, you just said, hey, you know what? This guy is electric. He's got a vision. He's got a plan. He's been around winning programs. He knows exactly how he wants to do it. I told Pete, I said, I don't know who you're going to hire as the basketball coach, but if you don't hire him, I said, we're going to consider him as a football coach because he would bring a lot of energy and stuff and passion to the program. And, your question about, I really do believe that all the head coaches and the assistant coaches, when you represent FIU, you don't just represent your own individual program. It's like, you know what? You want to be there to help support the baseball program, softball, both indoor, outdoor volleyball programs, the golf program. You want FIU to be successful. You want FIU to be a winning program because every program has an opportunity to create excitement about students that come to campus here. Why do they come? And so I think we're all salesmen, and we're all trying to help FIU become, one of the greatest places that you could choose to come to get a college education.
I loved his soundbite during his opening press conference. Winning the press conference, they always talk about how important that is, but I think he won everyone over when he said playing FIU will no longer be a day on the beach. He owned the press conference, and it has been pretty exciting to see how he's been running practices and trying to learn and develop from other coaches around the program. And that's been a lot of fun. In case you forgot, It's game week, Monday, August 27th, and this weekend, September 1st, Indiana comes to town, playing Indiana a lot to open up the season the last couple of years in this series. And Coach, they've announced their starting quarterback, a couple of developments, obviously, well aware of Morgan Ellison, their starting running back, will be suspended along with the starting linebacker. In the basic scouting report of IU, they bring a lot of talent. Look, this is a program that last year was neck-to-neck with Ohio State in the opening game of the season, and it seems like you've conveyed to the guys this is going to be a tough test to open up the season.
You can tell Indiana, they've got stability in the coaching staff, and so, they're not like us in year two. They're not trying to rebuild the program. They've had opportunities to have several recruiting classes, and you watch the film. I mean, they were right on the cusp, competitive against some of the elite teams in the Big Ten. So this will be a great challenge for our football team. We'll get a chance to kind of measure ourselves against somebody and find out how competitive that we can be against the elite Power 5 programs, and I think it's going to be very exciting.
Last thing here for you, Coach, as we wrap up week one of our Coaches Show. We'll be all throughout the Graham Center throughout the course of the season. There's a pit behind us that will be at certain times of the year, but it's been fun to be out here in the Student Center and get involved with the student body and get excited for this weekend. Coach, what's the emphasis for your team? What's going to be important this weekend for you guys to execute? Not necessarily how to defend Indiana, but what's important for FIU to do to play at their best this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things, obviously, because we are young and we've got a lot of new starters, I think communication is going to be critical. Making sure that everybody's on the same page, that you don't have mental mistakes and busted coverages, busted protections, and those kinds of things. And I think one of the things that we've really tried to impress upon the players, play the best that you can, okay? It's not about being great, this is week one. We want to be the best that we can be week one. We want to go out. We want to compete. We want to push the envelope. We want to play at a high level and play bold. I mean, we want to go out there and play bold and go out there with the expectations of having success.
Play bold is great philosophy, great emphasis to give to the guys. I know I can sense the excitement all throughout campus, throughout social media the past couple of weeks. I expect an electric crowd this weekend at Ricardo Silva Stadium. Right now, though, I know Coach has got some more preparation to do, and I've got Mojo Donuts to my right and Cafe Bustelo to my left that I've got to get to. So I'll get that done. Coach, appreciate the time.
AJ, great.
It's a lot of fun. We'll do this again next Monday. We'll keep an eye on the social media channel, Labor Day next Monday. So we'll figure out the schedule, of course, send out updates throughout social media for our next Coaches Show, either next Monday or the following one at 12:30 here live at the Graham Center. Hope to see you out here tuned in again on Facebook Live. I'm AJ Ricketts. That's Butch Davis. We'll see you this Saturday. Get the coolers, the tents ready. It's game week at FIU.